End of the year again, and as is tradition, I prepared you some bloopers and outtakes that I made all over the year. And the most recent one is when I was setting up here all my Christmas things, and here it is. The stupid little sound you just heard is the killing of one light bulb, but the others still work. Chauffage again, shit. And before I show you the others, let's talk a little bit workshop things, blah blah. In last week's video I was making these tool holders, still not finished, the part is still here in the shaper. And I had to cut a very large piece completely in chips, because I'm unable to cut a chunk this length. Someone wrote in the comments that I could cut it off using my parting tool here. And in theory that is correct. But in this case it's not gonna work for two reasons. Total thickness of the part is 40 millimeters. And if I want to cut it half and then flip the other half, I need here a stick out of at least 20 millimeters. And that is a little bit sketchy. And the second reason, and most important, is that my part here has a total length of 210 millimeters, which is 8¼ inch. The total stroke length of this machine is 220 millimeters, which means I have only 5 one side and 5 the other side. So it is too short. What's gonna happen when I dig in with this tool? On the backstroke, of course, the tool is gonna lift out of the slot. It's not only gonna lift, but also move that way. Which means at the end of the stroke, my tool will be here somewhere. And it will not free the workpiece. So this is gonna be a serious crash. Indeed, it can work very well if this part is shorter. So if my tool can free the backside of the part, no problem. And using this little machine here is also not possible, because the opening of the vise is maximum 100 millimeters. And I need at least 200. And putting my part straight, of course, is not gonna work, because there's no room enough. The total distance of free blade I have here is 140 millimeters. So it's a very nice machine, but too small. Somebody else commented that it could be possible to cut off this too much piece here, to drill holes through all the length and then finish it off with the angle grinder. And I think that is a brilliant idea. I didn't think of all of it. So that's a good one. Okay. I also want to thank everyone that left very useful comments last week about the rotting coolant problem that I have here on this milling machine. So thank you very much. The hardest part is now which solution to choose, but I will figure it out. And I have a little confession to make. Christmas is not my thing. If you like Christmas, that's okay, that's fair. I have absolutely no problem with it. But Christmas for me, not my thing. But I like these very small little light bulbs and these. That's what I like. Right, and now let's watch some clips from a Belgian dude that tries to make videos. These jaws are of course hardened, but I'm not I'm gonna do it all again. Oh shit. I smoke too much. Ah. Maybe this could work, I don't know. So I thought it would be nice if I could install some kind of heating system here in my workshop. And that's where my and my fan will blow the air to the space between these fins. And this side is a little bit higher than the other one. That's of course because I didn't clean the That's of course because I didn't That's of course because I didn't clean the parallels or nothing. I just took the pressure off. I had to switch over I had to switch drill trucks. No. I had to switch drill trucks because the YouTube University teach me that the faces of a end mill The YouTube University teach me that the faces of an end mill have to be cut in an angle. I watched a video from a Russian blacksmith. And he's making a new anvil stand. And when you see the job he does, making different parts out of different... I'll do it again. I'll do it again. So if, for example, you want to make tool holders for your quick change tool post, one moment, please. The theory of the pins that this guy tried to squeeze in your ears, I'll do it again. One moment, please. The theory that this guy tried to squeeze. One moment, please. The theory. It's gonna be a hard one. One moment, please. The theory that this guy with his cheap glasses tried to squeeze in your ears is not correct. Damn, that's cold. I really enjoyed making this thing. And even if it can give some ideas to someone, and now that we're talking about this primitive act of hand filing, let me give you some, again. And now that we're talking about the sprint, and now that we're talking about this primitive act of hand filing, and if I take the chuck off, I can go completely against the headstock. I had a little brain fart, happens. And I installed a laser. You can do this with a laser pen or whatever. This is a brain fart again. En niveau, comment est-ce qu'on dit? The water pass. This is a laser level. First of all, I would like to say thank you, of course, to allow us to visit your cinema here. And of course, the first question that comes to mind, I don't know. Un peu ta main à peu près ici, voilà. Attends, je vais tourner, comme ça tu sais voir ce qui se passe. Moi je mets mes mains là. Je laisse tomber dedans. On va le refaire. Ready?
Non,
ça c'était bien. Attends, essaye de ne pas toucher le trépied parce que ça...
En plus, on a vu ma main quand je l'ai retiré. Là, on voit ta main sur le côté.
Ready, Freddy? Ça c'était nickel ça. On va faire encore un nickel juste pour être sûr. Yeah? Let me explain a bit. Gonna do it again. I took of course this front plate off and I see that there is a really again. I took of course this car go away, tourist. I took of course this front plate off and I see that behind there is a way too big hole. And of course these holes is where this, no problem. Gonna do it all again. Tourists. I took of course this front plate off and immediately I see that there is I took of course this front plate off and behind it there is a way too big hole. Now normally this hole pattern in this thing here should fit in here and more or less. And the big problem is of course that the new I hope I'm not gonna drop it on the floor. It would be stupid. No, don't do this one. And I don't know what to say. We'll see. And before we end this little interview, I would like to show you, of course, what Mark brought me here. English, third language. I don't even know if you can see it or not on camera. I think you can see it here.
Want me to check it?
No, it's okay. Cut it out, move it. Editing software. Before we end this little interview, of course I would like to thank Mark because he brought me this thing.
So just to wind up, I want to do that again. So just to...
Don't worry, sometimes I do 5-6 times the same blah blah,
Yeah.
and then try to make it look natural. I have a taper. Now I made, I'm going to do it all again. To make my little slug here, I did somewhere something stupid, I think, but I can't figure out what. But now I'm going to do it again. It's heavy. To make my little chauffage. Shit. I also received a box from 624. I also received a box from 624. Shut up! Stupid animal. I also received a box from 642 Dudley in the States, and he sent me a very nice little note and 624. I also received a box this week from 624 Dudley in the States, and he sent me a very nice little note and a 3/8 collet for my milling machine. And included, he sent me also a puzzle, so that's gonna be fun. And that's all for this time. I don't want to annoy you more than strictly needed with all my mistakes. Okay, one last thing. I think if you do Christmas or if you don't do Christmas, in my opinion, the best place you want to be at Christmas time is at home. And that is, of course, if you still have one.